Good morning, students. Now, today we'll continue with our chapter number 4, that is our supply. That is, we are going to do with the part 2 today. As in the part 1, we have seen with the meaning of the stock, supply, production, difference between the stock and the supply. Then after we have done with the factor affecting supply. So, and after individual supply, market supply and the supply functions. So till that you can able to see the video it is there in the part 1. Now in this part 2 we'll go with the law of supply, relationship between the price and the supply, change in the supply, exceptions to the law of supply and the price determination in the market. So accordingly you can see we firstly go with the law of supply. Now you can see on your screen, students, what is the law of supply. So when all other factors affecting the supply are assumed to be constant, as price increases supply expands, and as price decreases the supply will be contracts. So as and when we have seen in this one, that is, as all the other factors here assuming to be constant, that which factors are going to be constant, that is the cost of production is their level of technology, future expectation regarding the prices, other factors what we have seen. So these all other factors are going to remain constant, and as and when you can see the price will increases with that supply increases, as and when the price decreases supply also decreases. So that what is there in the law of supply, that what you are going to study in this law of supply, that all other factor remaining constant and the price increase supply increase, price decrease the supply will be decreases. So you can term as a price increase supply expands and price decrease the supply contracts. Okay, so here what will happen, the present when the price is rising the supply is also with that continuously increases, and as and when the price goes low, that is decreasing, the supply also decreases. So here you can term it as a positive relationship between the price and the supply, and this what the relationship between the price and the supply, that is a positive one, that is only termed as your law of supply. Okay, so this is a simple one that what you can able to write down in the law of supply. After that we'll go with the assumption of the law of supply. Now students, here is the assumption of the law of supply. Now what law of supply is? There when all the other factors affecting the supply that are assumed to be the constant one. Now the assumption of the law of supply says the same thing, that which are the factors that assume to be constant other than the price. The price is not, as and when price increase supply increase with that, as and when price decrease the supply decrease with that. So here are the assumptions which are remaining constant. Okay, they are not changing. So the very first you need to write, that is the price of the factor of production remain constant. What is the factor of production? That include land, labor, capital, entrepreneur. So they are quite remaining constant. There is no change in that. Thereafter there is no change in the prevalent state of the technology. Whatever the technology is used before, the same technology is using. There is no such upgradation or the advanced technology are being used. Okay, so the technology also remaining the same. Level of competition, so level of competition also remaining the same. That what will termed as, because the number of sellers in the market remains the same. If the 10 sellers are there, the sellers are 10 only. There is no change in the number of sellers. So the level of competition what will happen, that will also remains the same. Now here the fourth one you will write in the assumption, that is expectation regarding the future prices are ignored. That can be termed as, right now it is remaining constant. Okay, whatever the price is prevailing today, the tomorrow also the price will be the same. So expectation about the future prices are totally ignored. Then other factors remaining constant, other factors what we have seen, government policy we have seen, transportation facilities we have seen, natural factors. So these are government policy, transportation facility, natural factors are there. They are quite remaining constant. There is no changes or up and down in all such situations. Okay. So here that what the assumption is there in the law of supply itself, that when all the factor affecting the supply, they all are assumed to be remaining constant. That what we have seen in this 5 points. Okay, so other than the price, but because as and when the price increases, the supply expands, and price decreases, the supply contracts. So this 5 points you need to write whenever it is asked the assumption of the law of supply. Now student, the another thing in the law of supply you will write is the schedule diagram and explanation of that supply. Now here you can see that it is on the seller's willingness to sell a goods at a various prices is called the supply schedule. So you can see the whole in this table, that is the price of the apple per kg in rupees it is given to you, and the supply of apple in kg is given to you. So what it is showing, it is showing the willingness of a seller to sell the apples at a different prices. So we have already done with as and when it becomes a supply, when the seller has a desire and a willingness and a capacity to sell a product, then only it will become a supply. Okay, so at various prices you can see the seller selling the apples. So very first, that is when as and when the price is 50, the supply of apple in kg is 200. As and when it increased to 60, the supply of apple is 400. Then after 70 it is there, the supply of apple is 600. 80 it is there, 800 supply. 90 price is there, 1000 apples, that is in kg it is supplied. Okay. So here is what we have seen in the law of supply definition, that as and when price increases, supply expands. So that what you can see, from 50 to 90 prices there, it is keeps on increasing, the supply is also increasing. If you go from the downward to the upward side, from 90, 80, 70, 60, 50, as and when the price decreases, so you can see the supply also contracts as you go from the down below to upward side. Okay. So what is happening, the situation is, so what you will mention accordingly, that is on the x-axis, what you are mentioning, the supply of apples in kg you will mention, and you need to write this point over here. Then after on the y-axis, what you will mention over here, that is the price. So accordingly, as and when price is 50, first you will show this one. So it is 200 supply is there. As and when the price is 60, it is 400. Then 70 is there, in that 600. 80 is there, it is 800. And 90 is there, it is 1000. So it keeps on increasing, you can see over there. And you need to mention out this point in alphabet, that is firstly A, B, C, D, E, as what you can see. So firstly what we have done, as and when price is 50, the supply is 200 kg. Then price rose to 60, then the supply extends, that is expands to 400 kg. Then price rises, as and when 70, the supply more expands to the 600. So here you can see what the SS curve. Okay, that what SS curve means, the supply curve, and how you can see it over here, it is a positively sloped. Okay, so here the law of supply says that price increase, with that supply expand, price decrease, supply contract. So here the SS curve, that is the supply curve, will show a positively sloped one. Okay, so this is the third point you need to remember in the law of supply. Now students, there is another topic is related to the expansion and contraction of the supply. Now here also the other factors are assumed to remain constant over here. Okay, so which are the other factors, like cost of production, that what we have seen, level of technology, government policies are there, number of sellers are there. So they are quite assumed to remain constant. But what here it is changes is the only price. Price is varied over here in the expansion and contraction. So whenever comes related to the expansion and contraction of the supply, you will keep in the mind that because of the changes in the price, there is an expansion and contraction is done, and all the other factors are remaining constant in the expansion and contraction. So as and when it is stated it to you in the table and a diagram is shown to you. So firstly, the price of the apple you can see that is 50, the supply is 200. As and when price increase to 60, the supply will be 400. 70 the price is, so 600 would be the supply. 80 the price is, the supply would be 800. 90 the price is, the 1000 is the supply. So you can see over here the continuously there is a rise in the price. So as and when there is the rise in the price, there is an increase in the supply of the apple too. So accordingly you will mention this thing in a diagram that you can see on your screen. That is the supply of the commodity you will mention on the x-axis, and then after you will mention the price of the commodity over here on the y-axis, and according to that you will plot out the points. So after plotting out this on the x-axis and the y-axis, firstly we'll go with the initial one, that is 70 the price is. How much is the supply? It is 600. So you will point out accordingly to that, that is the A point over there. As and when you can see if the price rises to 80, so as and when price rises to 80, the supply increases, and till it reach 90, the supply would be the 1000. So you can see over here in this one, see, as and when the price increase, we have taken the initially as 70. So from A to C, whatever the line you are seeing, that is the expansion of supply, it would be termed as, because firstly the price is 70, then after it is 80, and then as and when it rose to 90, the supply would be 1000. So you can see from A to C there is a expansion of supply. Okay, because the price rises, it that supply also increases. Thereafter you can see over here from 70 to 60, if the price decreases, the supply would also be decreased with that. And then after when it is 50, it is just supply is 200. So from A to B you can see the arrow, that is the contraction of supply if the price is decreasing. Okay, so this is how you will plot out all the points and alphabets accordingly to the expansion and contraction of the supply. Okay, so both the things you need to keep in the mind accordingly. So from the movement, that is from A to C, is your, so it is the expansion of the supply, and the point from A to B, it is the contraction of supply. So the SS curve you can see, that is your supply curve. So this is how you will mention out the expansion and contraction of the supply. Now over here we will go with the relationship between the price and the supply. So students, you can see that what we have already seen itself, that what is price and supply. There is a positive relationship between the price and the supply. Price increase, supply increases. Price decrease, supply decreases. So with that you can see the first point, that seller pursue the objective of profit maximization, and when the price rises, they see the possibility of increasing the profit. So as in when we all know, as in we see in the market that the price of the particular product is going to be increased. Okay, so at that time we'll start the selling of our products. As and when we think there is maybe occur a losses, then we'll not going to take any of the risk that may cause a loss to you. So if there is only a price rise in the market, then only there is a possibility that we will sell out the product. So here the main objective is the profit maximization. As and when if we are the seller, we also think the same. If we are getting the profit, at that time we will sell out our product. So the second, you can see when the price rises, those producers who were not willing to sell their stocks at lower prices start selling the stocks. So firstly, what is happening? The price is quite low, as the seller think that they cannot get the proper amount in return, okay, as what they required. Okay, so as and when at that time they will not sell out that product, there will be the stock only. So as and when they think there will be a profit or there is a price rise in the market and they can get a huge return in that, so after that they will sell out their product. At that time that stock become the supply. Okay, that three things we have already clarified, student, that what is stock, production and supply. So as and when that supply, that stock can only become the supply, it is in the hand of the producers itself. If there is a willingness and capacity and ability to sell that product, then only that stock becomes a supply. But this is also when it happens as and when the producer thinks that they can earn the maximum profit out of it, at that time they will sell out their product. So these are the 2 points you need to be remember related to the relation between the price and the supply.